Hi, friends. Hello. Hi, friends. Hi, friends. Hello. Just waiting. Just waiting for some more people to join us. Waiting for comments and questions. Happy to see you all. I'm doing this on two devices today. The StreamYard, and so YouTube, Facebook is on my iPad, and I'm doing an Instagram Live on my English speaking account here. I have two of them. I have an English speaking one, like this one, and I have a Russian speaking one for people who only speak Russian. Um, Even though I'm Ukrainian, interestingly enough, Russian is my first language. So the first thing that happened today, and it wasn't on my list of things I prepared, but we follow the news, is that Afghanistan is now a TPS country, which means they have started to accept applications for people from Afghanistan for temporary protected status. And of course, how bad things happen in Afghanistan. Our country recently had to withdraw from Afghanistan, all the troops, and a lot of bad, war related things have happened with the Taliban in Afghanistan. So anybody in the United States in any status from Afghanistan, in any status, no matter how they came in here, can now start applying for temporary protected status. So that's great news, and it just came out this morning. I received the email from USCIS reminding me that that's happening right now. This week was, as usual, very eventful with USCIS and immigration. Interesting thing that came out last week, like late last week after I did our live last week, is that a new big study, a big investigation was published about ICE. And it turns out that ICE uses a very complex, sophisticated, very invasive net of surveillance over pretty much every American person. Anybody who lives in the United States is being spied on by ICE. ICE has got their eyes on you at all times. They're listening to your phones, and to hell with your privacy, okay? They don't give a flying what about your privacy, which makes me so angry because there's been so many lawsuits and so many challenges, and every time the courts have said privacy comes number one, unless you have a warrant to listen to somebody, unless you have a legal case and you prove to a judge that you have a reason to listen to somebody's phone or film them on camera, you cannot just invade somebody's life like that. And any evidence obtained in the regular course of action in criminal cases without sanctions, like without authorization. So basically, let's say you're sitting there and you are just listening to somebody for no reason, and then it turns out they did some crime. That kind of evidence doesn't really have any weight in court because you didn't have the permission to listen. Unless somebody gets stopped and like all of a sudden, right that moment, you have a reason to arrest them and to listen, then that kind of evidence is admissible. But just if you were listening for a whole day or for a whole month and randomly picking out people doing crimes and arresting them, normally in our American legal system, that doesn't work. But ICE doesn't care, and they don't care about the state's privacy laws. They find tricks and loopholes to go around each state, like New York, California, Texas, whatever privacy laws, and they can locate 3 in 4 people living in the United States. So 75% of people, they know who you are, where you live, what you're doing. And they can find them by utility records. They have access to bills, your bills, gas, electric, phone. They have access to those records. They can find you by that record. Now, Texas is in the news again, in immigration news again, because their governor, Greg Abbott, he wants to challenge the 1982 Supreme Court decision that guarantees free public school for all children, regardless of their immigration status. Texas says, we are spending way too much time on illegal immigrants, read Mexicans who are crossing the border from Mexico. It drains our public school system so that people who are citizens or green card holders are not getting as much as they should because of all these illegal immigrants coming to use our systems. And they want to go back to an overturned 1975 law that barred, illegal undocumented children from going to public school because they're saying the cost is too great. Why not? You know what I'm saying? Now that Roe versus Wade is about to get overturned and the women's right to abortions is now back to square one, why not start with illegal immigrants? Basically, I'm seeing a great decline in this country for regard for personal rights, for individual rights. Individual rights are moving to the back burner, and the society and the government's needs is moving to the front. If you are just watching TV and listening to Biden blaming Russia for our gas prices, okay, and saying that soon you're going to have food shortage, you understand that the government's interest, not opening the pipeline right here in the United States that we have available to us and making everybody pay $5 or more for gas, which for poor people is a whole lot. That means our government has decided that their decisions and rights are more important than your individual rights in this country. So that's what's happening in our society right now. And that usually leads to fascism, just to let you know. Okay? That's what happened in Germany in 1933. The next thing you know, the government is going to start arresting people for saying the wrong thing. And by the way, that's happening already with the cancel culture. You don't get arrested, but you get canceled. You lose your job or whatever for saying things that disagree with the majority, right? And then the next thing you know, we're going to have Nazism right here, fascism. So that's what I'm worried about. And immigrants are like, an equivalent of how gypsies used to be treated in Germany. When gypsies started to be killed and put in concentration camps, that's when everybody realized that Germany is not joking around, and this is Nazism and fascism. That's what's happening with immigrants right now because of everything that's happening in our society. So be careful and listen to what you watch in the news because the news tells you the truth. You just have to be really, really looking hard to hear the truth. Okay, you can't hear the obvious thing. You have to filter that out. And you have to listen to what's really happening. Let me just say a few things before I get into answering everybody's questions, because I already have a lot of questions, and I thank you for asking them. And by the way, I know this is a show about immigration, and mostly immigrants are watching me, but you guys are coming and becoming U.S. citizens and green card holders, and you're becoming part of this society. And I'm already a part of this society. I'm an immigration attorney. I live here for 33 years. I'm an immigrant myself. And I'm seeing things move towards worse than they used to be. And a lot of things are really very uncomfortable to see and really unpleasant for me to see about our society that claims to be this democratic, amazing country that all the other countries should want to be like. But in reality, we have a lot of things that are bad happening here. And the regard for individual human rights, person's rights, above everyone else, above the group, above the government, above society, is what democratic societies are all about. And if you stop respecting individual rights over the common good, you end up either in communism, socialism, or fascism. And I'm not saying that capitalism is so wonderful. It also has its drawbacks. But so far, it's really the only system that more or less balances things out. Communism, fascism causes people to die by the millions, okay? and go to concentration camps. So be very careful what you wish for, American society. All right, VAWA. Let's talk about VAWA before I start to answer your questions. VAWA is the case type in immigration, which we do a lot of. And VAWA is the Violence Against Women Act law. It's short for VAWA, Violence Against Women Act, used for men and women to file for a green card in an abusive marriage to a U.S. citizen or even a green card holder, or even if you have a child over 21 who is a U.S. citizen and that child abuses you. Okay, you have a bad relationship with your child. It doesn't have to be physical abuse. We're seeing a lot of people in our office coming in with financial abuse, with credit card scams. Their spouses run on them because the new immigrant doesn't have as much knowledge about the American system as somebody who grew up here, lives here, and was born here. So they get taken advantage of. It could be a woman spouse or a husband. You know, immigrants are easy to take advantage of, and we are seeing people who are abused through finances, through emotions, verbally, and so on. So we file cases, but we don't always file the case. Sometimes people come to us after they started the case on their own or through some free organization or another lawyer who has no idea how to win a VAWA case. And they come to us to fix the VAWA situation. They come to us when they're getting something called a request for evidence or VAWA, in a VAWA case, or RFE for short, request for evidence. And sometimes they tell me, look, this is what was sent. And first thing that we do is ask you, let me see a copy of what you already sent to the VAWA unit, to the humanitarian unit, the USAS. And sometimes people don't even know. They don't have a copy of what was already sent. They just don't have it. Sometimes they do, and I look at it and I see things are missing. And I understand why the RFE came, because things are missing. The three main elements of a VAWA case, of winning a VAWA case, is to show that the marriage happened, that there's joint paperwork. You have to show through papers that the marriage took place and happened in time and in place. So you need bills in two names, bank statements in two names, tax returns in two names, pictures that are signed and labeled, and you could see the place and the time of the pictures, who was in them. So this is all the joint marriage documents. Part two is you have to prove abuse. And again, sometimes people have joint documents, but they cannot prove they were abused, right? You have to prove it. And the third type of evidence, or the third element of VAWA, is to prove you're a person of good moral character. Also, I see a lot of VAWA RFEs coming up with that question. You haven't proved it. That part, the third part, is the easiest to prove. You need to give USCIS a police clearance from every place you lived at for more than 6 months. In the United States, if you're here more than 3 years. If you're here less than 3 years, in addition to the police clearances from America, you will need to provide a police clearance from your country to show you're a person of good moral character. And on top of that, you can send letters from your church or your mosque or any community organization where you go, where you belong, to say, hey, so-and-so is a good guy or a good lady. We like her. She helps out. She volunteers. She helped with the soup kitchen on Thanksgiving, or, you know, we are helping Ukraine right now. Whatever it is that's working and you are part of in your community, get a letter about that, right? But the request for evidence sometimes focus on the joint evidences of the marriage. So mostly, if I had to survey every request for evidence in a VAWA case that I've seen, they usually will focus on something that you didn't prove enough of the marriage. Or maybe your evidence conflicts each other. Like maybe you said in your forms that you lived in an address between such and such date, but then it turns out in the witness letter, another date was mentioned and addresses don't match. So this is something super important to address. What if you have nothing to add when you get the RFE? You're like, listen, whatever I had, I already sent to the government. This is the place to look for more witnesses, more friends and family, even your own family back home can write letters saying, we are confirming this was a real marriage. We are here to tell you this was a true marriage for love, for family. This wasn't a fake marriage. They can also confirm that they've witnessed you either being abused directly or being upset or crying or needing psychological help and support from being abused. Like maybe they didn't see it with their eyes, but they talked to you many times when you just got beat up or you just got called names and you couldn't sleep or you have depression and all that. Just saying hello to some of my friends here, my followers, Camouge. Kelly says good morning. Zia says good morning. And I'm going to get to questions in a minute. So when you're in a situation when you don't have much to add, to the VAWA case, you get witness letters. And the next thing you do, you get maybe another psychologist letter, or you should have had a psychologist letter initially, somebody who evaluated you and confirmed you are indeed abused. And the final part of this could be a supplemental or like an additional story from you addressing whatever questions they asked in the letter. All right, so that's how we deal with VAWAs. If you have a complicated asylum or VAWA case, or if you have kids who are American but you've been here over 10 years, give us a call. It's too complicated to handle on your own, and we can help you figure it out. Okay, I'm going to start answering questions. Shiraz says, my wife passed away after giving birth to my son in New Jersey, in Jersey City, and I get custody of my son from my in-laws through U.S. court, but the U.S. Embassy is not issuing me the B1, B2 visa from my country. How can you firm help me in coming over to U.S. from my country to get my son's custody? This is super hard to do because I don't know why they're denying you. It could be they have their own reasons, the embassy. Another thing you can do is just to arrange with someone here to take your son to you in your country. Other than that, we can appeal the decision. We can write a letter to USCIS or to the embassy, whoever is the last agency that made the decision. We can definitely try to see if we can help. But it's always difficult to overcome tourist visa denials like this because they're the most discretionary out of all the visas that they issue. You know, that means when I say they're the most discretionary, that means that's where they make their own decisions and very little influence can be made on them to change those decisions. I'm just being honest with you. You know, I don't like to sugarcoat things. I had a question here on Instagram. Okay, it's Shiva Aurora says, ma'am, I filed my I-360 VAWA in January 2021. How long will it take to approve now? Okay, from the time you filed, about 2.5 years. January 2001, we add 2.5 years. I'm thinking summer 2023. Summer 2023 is when you should hear back about your VAWA. Hopefully it will be approved. Somebody says, how are you, ma'am? How are you? Hi. Nice to see you. My daughter Nicole is watching. Hi, Nicole. She's in the next room too, but unfortunately when I'm doing my shows, I can't talk to my kids here, who sometimes are here. My daughter is having her senior prom today, everyone. I'm so excited. She is finishing high school. This is her last month of high school, and she's going to college. My first oldest daughter is going to college, and we don't know yet if she's going to be a lawyer like her mom. She definitely has the right skills. She's a great writer, super smart, but I think she's more into business than law, so we'll see what happens. But today's her prom, and that's a dance. In case you guys don't know what a prom is, that's a senior dance. That's where boys and girls, they usually pair up. They go in beautiful evening dresses, and boys wear suits with ties and bow ties. It's a ball, and they're going to a school ball. It's called a prom. That's part of American culture, one of my favorite parts. By the way, you guys, I did not go to my prom. I didn't have a date. I was just in America for 2 or 3 years, I think, at that time. And I didn't really understand that whole thing, and my parents didn't get it. So I didn't go to my prom. I think we just went out with my friends and like maybe had some pizza or something. Divine on YouTube is asking, hello, good evening from Abu Dhabi, Emirates. Oh my God, Abu Dhabi, Emirates. That's amazing. Emirates, hello, hi. Thank you for watching. Zulika is saying, good morning, happy Friday. Happy Friday, that's on YouTube. Again, this is from YouTube too. How long does it take for a work permit after filing for VAWA? Oh, this is a great question. So when you file for VAWA, if you're eligible, and most people are, we usually file together the VAWA petition and the green card application. If you file for a green card application, you also include the work permit application. And if that happened to you, from the date you filed, you should get your work permit in about 11 months. Right now, the national average is 10 and a half to 11 months from the date you filed. If you did not file for the I-485, for the green card, if you only filed VAWA alone, then you have to wait for the work permit based on the VAWA petition, and that takes the same time as VAWA approval, so about 2.5 years. Hopefully your lawyer or whoever helped you file it filed for the green card and the work permit, and it'll only take you 10 to 11 months. And I realize that's a really long time and it's super frustrating to wait, but they're very delayed right now. And just to give you a comparison in terms of a time to wait, the people who have asylum and filed for a green card are waiting, are you ready? 38 months, 3 years and 2 months if you filed for a green card since you already had asylum. So you have asylum, you wait 1 year, you file for a green card. 3 years and 2 months it will take you to get that green card, okay? They're so delayed right now, so delayed. And Zulika is saying happy Friday and good morning again. And Zulika is also saying happy prom day to your daughter. Thank you. We're going to go to somebody's house, a boy in her class, take pictures, then I will go home and she will go to her prom. And I'm not going to embarrass her because she actually invited me to go. So I'm invited to go take pictures. With teenagers, you only go when you're invited. Do not show up uninvited to things. They don't like it. Veronica is saying, hello, my friend is coming from Ukraine under the Uniting for Ukraine program. What does she need to do at the USA upon their arrival at the airport? Thank you for asking. It's a humanitarian parole program called Uniting for Ukraine. She has to bring with her whatever was uploaded when you applied for Uniting for Ukraine. That means the sponsor's paperwork, all of the sponsor's paperwork, the sponsor's passport, income tax returns, proof of income, pay stubs, anything about the sponsor. Make sure you know the name and address of the sponsor. She knows it when they ask her. She has to bring vaccination records. She has to have them in hand. She has to bring her passport. And of course, the number one thing, print out the letter of travel authorization you received when she was approved for the Uniting for Ukraine. And DeBoy Giotti 9007577 says, hello, ma'am. People have complex names here. We did this. Kamoji says, you're a great lawyer. Thank you so much. I'm okay. I think I am very good, but, you know, I'm not like Einstein. And the good thing about us is what makes me great, actually, is not so much that I'm personally a good lawyer, that I have a great team of lawyers working for us. So Shepelsky Law Group, you guys sadly only see me here because the people in my office are so busy and shy, and you know it's hard to do these lives. We have to prepare, like I prepare with my team for the topics. We have to set it up online. It takes time, so my people are busy working with clients, but we have great people working from legal assistants to attorneys to paralegals. When you call us, you schedule a consultation. You'll get really smart people who care. And I'm not just saying that, but sometimes when I see what other lawyers did to our clients, people who touched their cases before us, screwed them so badly that it makes me feel like we're doing a great thing by having a good, strong team. We're always talking about all the latest developments in law. I pay for everybody to attend all the conferences and learn all the things in AILA, American Immigration Lawyer Association. Like our two attorneys will be attending. I won't have time, but they will be attending the AILA New York conference. The national AILA conference is going to be in New York this year. We're here, so they're going to go and they're going to learn all the latest things. And a couple of our other people are attending. So you guys get the benefit of all the education and all the experience we all have as a group when you call us and when you consult with us. Stephen Clark says, hi, Marina, I received a prima facie approval. Is that a good sign? So people who apply for VAWA, when they look at your package and they see that you submitted everything that they need, not like deeply reviewing everything that you have, but you gave them the police clearance, you proved who you are, you sent some joint documents, you proved that you were married to a U.S. citizen or green card holder, they give you this letter called prima facie. Prima facie means preliminary approval, meaning on the surface, your case is good. It is a good sign. It's a great sign, and it means you have a good chance of getting approved. So yes, I'm going to be optimistic. Now, Stephen is asking, since he got this prima facie, can he fly inside the United States now without a problem? Yes, no problem. Inside the United States, you could just fly with regular ID. Any ID, like your passport is ID. Eventually, you'll get the work permit. That's federal ID as well. Once you get the work permit, make sure you get the social security card. Go get a New York State or Texas State or California State or New Jersey State ID, even if it's not a driver's license. You could get a non-driver's license ID in your state and use that to fly even. So you don't have to take your passport with you. Yelena is asking on YouTube, hello, the 2 years after divorce limit time to apply in VAWA cases is only for people when they filed the divorce for violence, or can it be if the abuser filed the divorce too? Sadly, it's for any kind of divorce. So if you are more than 2 years out from the judgment of divorce, not the date of filing, but the date of the judgment of divorce, when the court signed your divorce, for any reason, divorce for any reason, even if the abuser filed it, you cannot file for VAWA. But before you file for VAWA, what you can do is, if you did not get properly served with the divorce papers, nobody gave you the papers for the divorce properly, you didn't know you were divorced until like maybe now, you first should go to the divorce court in your state and file an order to show cause to throw the divorce out because it wasn't done properly. And you would be surprised how many improperly done divorces I come across. And I always tell my clients, let's file a judgment to throw out the divorce, and then you'll get a new divorce dated like now, and then you could still file for VAWA. In other words, if your abuser did not follow the proper rules about serving you with divorce papers, putting you in the court proceeding properly, like if you didn't know about it, nobody gave you personally the divorce papers, there's probably a chance you can get rid of that divorce, go back to court, you'll still get divorced, but you'll get a new date of your judgment of divorce, and that's the date you're going to use. Not only that, you can include this whole story in your VAWA case to show how abusive your asshole of the ex-husband or wife was. They did something illegal. When you don't get process served with papers in the United States and any state, the divorce is invalid. It's easily canceled out by the judge if you prove they didn't actually do what they said they did, like they didn't serve you properly, okay? So that would help. Zubidu is asking, is it possible to get approved for the C09, which is based on a green card? Work permit combo card without prima. Yes, it's possible. Yes. Sanam is asking on YouTube, I'm a green card holder, and how much it would take to get approved for my I-730 case. So you got asylum, I presume, I assume, and you filed to unite with your family. You should call us because it's very important when you filed, and the time is usually about 3 years right now for the I-730 petition. The I-730 petition is when an asylum holder files for their spouse and kids to come here and also get asylum as their family members. It's like family unification through asylum. Okay, that takes about 3 years, but you should give us a call to figure out how long you still have to wait. Got it. And I'm finishing up here. I don't have much. So DeBoy Yoti is asking about the J1 visa. I don't know what I can tell you about it other than it's a visa, usually either for like an exchange student to come work in America for the summer and travel for a month, or for like nannies. And also there's J1s for doctors, for physicians. So I'll see you guys next week. I will post early in the week so you guys can post your comments ahead of time. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I hope to see you next week. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a